I am wearing a Yaira shirt. What does that mean? That means it is time to review a new release from the Rippaverse, and this one has me all excited because today I will be taking a look at the Great War of Separation, Issue 2. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute, going for a ride down the side. Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Berry. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and if you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. If you want to support me in the work that I do, head on over to my new website, studiojakemedia.substack.com, where you can find even more pop culture topics. Every single subscriber really helps me out, so thank you in advance. All right, so I am so excited to bring you my take on The Great War of Separation, Issue 2, written by Chuck Dixon with art from Jack Herbert and from Marcos Lesko. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I am not, please correct me in the comments below. Now, I did review this on my website, studiojakemedia.substack.com, which I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to be reading from that review, and then I'm going to expand on those thoughts like I usually do for these comic book reviews. The Great War of Separation Issue 2 continues the Rippaverse prequel. Chuck Dixon writes it, and it features artwork by Jack Herbert and coloring by Marcus Lesko, as I mentioned earlier. Texas Governor Sanders continues his rebellion against the United States government. After a failed assassination attempt by the Excepts, Sanders authorizes the Texas military to recruit and make their own Excepts. To their surprise, U.S. Brigadier General Solari arrives and defects to the Lone Star State. Desperate to stop the growing rebellion, the U.S. president authorizes the American military to send criminal Excepts to fight. I have to admit, I did not know what to expect from its debut issue, but I am glad that I made it here. Dixon is a masterclass when it comes to writing military conflicts. You can tell that from his days writing the G.I. Joe. No doubt that experience prepared him for the series, and it shows. Once again, the artwork is fantastic. Herbert does an excellent job with the military outfits for the Excepts and later with the mechanized suits that are utilized. Of course, the battles are excellent. They truly popped off the page, and seeing Solari in action in this prequel is top notch. I honestly cannot wait for the finale. The Great War of Separation has exceeded and surpassed my expectations. The Rippaverse has once again published a winner. And just to expand on that, it is so true. I have been reading Chuck Dixon since the 90s, his work on Batman and Tim Drake Robin, before they ruined him with the DC Rebirth, as well as his stuff on G.I. Joe and Conan the Barbarian, and even movie tie-ins like with Star Wars General Grievous have all been something that is really special to me. I've mentioned that in other videos, but when it comes to the Rippaverse, Chuck Dixon is really stepping up his game. You can tell that Rippaverse founder Eric July is giving him a ton of freedom to work. Dixon is clearly passionate about the canon within the Rippaverse. They're doing it manga style, so they're not going to do any reboots. Time is going to flow sort of more naturally than it does in other comic book universes, and I think that is really cool. With this series, with the Great War of Separation, I am always hesitant when war arcs are introduced in comic book stories, but I've been completely dissuaded by that. Not to mention the incredible artwork that Herbert has done. I am so impressed with it. I am blown away with each page. So this is a scene when Solari leads a group of Excepts that are working for the Texas rebellion out of a helicopter. And as you can see, this is just incredible. Look at these amazing character designs. Look at how Solari looks hopping out of this helicopter. It is fantastic. I love it. I think it's great. Herbert is top notch, and he was perfectly paired with Dixon. That's not to discount what Dixon has done with Joe Bennett in the Rippaverse. I am just saying for the Great War of Separation, I think Herbert was the right choice. One final note, I love this cover by Kanan White. He is by far my favorite of the people who design covers for the Rippaverse, and I'm not knocking anyone else. Everyone else does a fantastic job. It's just I like Kanan White's style especially. It's just a personal taste on the matter. This is incredible, and it's colorist Candace Hahn. She did a great job of really making this image pop. It is one of my favorite covers now from the Rippaverse. I'm just so excited to see where the series is going. As I've mentioned several times throughout this video, Chuck Dixon is a fantastic writer. He really pulled this one together, and I cannot wait to see what the finale is going to bring. I think it's going to be incredible. I think it's going to be exciting. Him and Jack Herbert have really made an action thriller comic that you do not want to miss. I think you're going to enjoy it. I think you're going to have a good time. And best of all, one of the cool things about the Great War of Separation is you don't really have to be familiar with like Isom or Yaira or Blood Ruth to get into it, since it's a prequel. It definitely draws from those characters. Obviously, Isom is a child at the time of the Great War of Separation, and he is in the stories, but it is not him as the hero Isom, it is him as Avery, his civilian identity. So definitely head on over to the Rippaverse, check these out. I cannot wait for issue 3, which is said to be the finale. I think it's going to be fantastic, just like the first 2. If you like that video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment, tell what you think, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. If you want to support me in the work that I do, head on over to studiojakemedia.substack.com, where you can find even more pop culture articles. Most of my articles are readable for free, but if you want to subscribe, you unlock a ton of new perks. So I really hope you do that so I can bring you more videos and more pop culture articles. On that same website, there's a conveniently titled Buy My Books section where you can find links to get all of my books, and they're all available on Amazon. So pick up one or all 4, leave me a 5-star review. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. If you're like, hey, I want to get to know you a little bit before I purchase a book, head on over to studiojakemedia.locals.com. It's basically my author website. I do post links to some of my articles as well as this vidcast there, but you can find my short stories, you can find my poems, and of course, you can find my satirical poem, 10 Little Soy Boys, which I think you will enjoy. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.